Howdy folks, and welcome back to Reading Held Hostage. My name's Blue and I love to read. Yep, you do your part now.
My name's Justin. I don't like reading.
You don't?
Can we skip the last book?
We've gotten so far.
I know, but we could just skip it.
We've come so far.
I don't think anybody would notice.
I would notice.
I don't think anybody would notice.
I would notice, and I'm important. Are you calling me unimportant?
Yeah.
Unimportant?
Yeah.
Before we start this one, though, real quick, I just want to say, if you haven't already, leave us a review on Spotify. 5
Everywhere.
stars or 0. Yeah, but Spotify. I guess Apple Podcast is technically the more important one, but
Yeah.
who cares? Yeah, so leave us a review. We're on YouTube, post notifications, all that kind of stuff.
When is this going out? Around Christmas?
The 12th of December.
Okay. Tell your family about us when you go to Christmas.
Oh, yeah, tell them about us. We're starting Divergent next,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm really excited for. Everybody I know who's read Divergent is like, I really like Divergent. I'm like, cool, what happened in the end? And they're like, I don't remember getting to the end.
Yes, the end.
So I'm very excited about that. But we're actually at the end of this book, Justin. Are you excited?
To be done, yeah.
Yeah, to be done?
To be done.
I'm done. I'm ready to be done with this book as well. I think it has a very interesting ending.
That doesn't. You didn't say good.
Well, it's just predictable. Again, it's a young adult.
Yeah.
Not really my cup of tea.
Cup of tea.
At least not anymore. It was when I was a kid. But I guess to start, how do you see it ending? Like I said, it's pretty predictable.
Yeah, alien blow up.
Yeah.
Happy ever after.
Yeah, I guess. It's gonna be...
not with his girlfriend, am I right?
Yeah, right? Because Sarah's... She dead. 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 Okay.
Weird twist, though.
Honestly, I thought it was a good one. It's like, they almost never kill, like, the person closest. Like, they do.
Or anybody
but it's
with, like, a real name.
Yeah, but it's like a dad or something, and you're like, okay. But... It's a longer book, so we'll just do what we can, but I want you to tell me real quick what happened last time in the last book.
The last book was just like the 24-hour one, right?
Yeah.
So, they fought through New York.
Yeah.
And then some bitch shows up with a spaceship that she's been hiding.
Hiding for 10 years. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Lexa. She showed up to the Mexico group.
Yeah. How?
Yeah.
That pissed me off.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty annoying. Also, I don't know how she got that spaceship because, again, she drove the other spaceship.
What?
She drove the one that took Ella to Earth.
Yeah.
The one she is in current possession of is the one that took the 9 children to Earth.
That was in Area 51?
We don't know where it was because that's part of the novella that we'd have to read, and I'm not gonna.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're pretty close, and then Sarah died, and that was kind of, and we're here now.
Do you think that's the double down people reading the novella?
What do you mean to double down?
Like, if you want more Sarah, you gotta read this book, because she's dead now.
Probably. I mean, she wasn't in the last 2 pretty much at all.
Yeah.
Because she went on her side quest pretty early in, like, the 6th or the 5th book.
Yeah.
And then she was gone the whole 6th book until she showed up and died. Which, honestly, I could have done it better.
Honestly?
I could have survived. Are you ready to start?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we didn't do POVs.
Oh.
Who do you think? It's 2 of them.
John.
Mm-hmm.
Of John.
What?
I said of John. Obvious.
Oh. I thought you said, like, off John, which is how in The Handmaid's Tale they address the handmaids of then the man's name.
Oh.
So I was like, what is going on right now?
Yeah, I really know intimate details about that book. And
that's why I was so shocked. I was like,
yeah.
Is he secretly becoming an incel without me knowing? So yes, John.
John, and then... Who's in the Mexico group?
Marina, Adam, Six, Mark, Lexa, Ella. Oh my god, I can't believe I knew all that off the top of my bean.
Let's say Adam.
No, it's 6. Good try, though. Sucks to be a loser.
Yeah, it does.
Prologue. So we have a prologue, and it basically goes through Five and Marina getting like, Ra's like, join me, like, come back, like, come on, like, let's be BFFs. And they're both like, fuck off. And then Ra approaches Mark in his dreams, and he's like, I can bring Sarah back to life. And we don't get an answer on if he's going to join Ra or not. What do you think? Do you think he joins Ra?
Who?
Mark?
Mark? How can he bring Sarah back to... Did he explain anything about that?
No. He just says, basically, like, I can give you what you want that they aren't giving you. Like, and implying that the Lorik can and won't give back Sarah.
Okay. But, and who's he saying that to? John?
Mark.
Mark?
Yeah.
Ra is saying that to Mark?
Yes.
Okay. No.
No? You think he's gonna be
Yeah.
okay? Alright. So our first chapter, they're in this weird-looking motel thing with, like, an underground government base called Patience Creek.
Of course.
It's outside of Lake Erie in Detroit. They're all with the government now, and John's disassociating from the loss of Sarah.
Yeah.
Obviously. Apparently there's this old war general who has been retired for like 20 years, so nobody even bothered to convince him to join, like the Mog Pro people.
Because he was, like, on a beach and...
Yeah, he was gone. So he's coming back in. He's like his name's General Lawson. We don't really get much about his history besides he's a general and he worked for the president before.
And he has done many a war crime.
Probably. As John's dissociating, he's practicing his new legacy of invisibility, because remember, he's got that mimic ability.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Zimic.
Oh.
Very different. Daniela and Sam are, like, worried about him, but, like, they need to know.
Like, off,
Yeah, they're like, what the hell, like, can we do?
If you were anybody's friend,
Yeah.
and...
Somebody close to them just passed away.
Yeah,
Like,
you'd be concerned about him.
yeah. So he learns that, like, the other group, the Mexico group, is landing soon.
Okay.
Malcolm's also
Without
in
Sarah.
Yeah, well, her body. Malcolm is also in the facility, which is not up to, like, any security standards. So, like, he's, like, helping with security, and they're basically running on a skeleton crew of military folk here.
Yeah.
9 also joins them, and he lets John know that 5's down in prison.
Is 9 okay?
What do you mean?
Because he nearly died the last
Oh, yeah,
book.
from his, like, bombardment with
Yeah.
5. Yeah, he's good. I mean, John healed him up.
Okay.
And then they've had, like, maybe 5 hours of rest.
Yeah.
So,
Did
yeah, I would say he's
5
fine.
die?
5's alive.
5 alive.
In a prison, which is what John is being told right now.
Okay.
9's like, yeah, I locked him up. He's in prison. And he's like, hey, John, you doing good? And he's like, no. Yes, I'm great. And
John practicing his invisibility. Let me be clear.
But John, like, prefers, like, the way 9's handling
So
things.
I said a really funny joke, and...
What do you want me to do? We make that joke all the time.
Let me be clear.
Let me be clear. But then John's like, I'm not watching anyone else die until we win this war. So now we're at 6, who was in the Mexico group, and she's having a PTS dream about Sarah's death.
Makes sense.
And
they are all children.
Yep. And Lexa wakes her up and is like, hey, like, it wasn't your fault. And 6 thinks about it, and she obviously feels extreme guilt because, remember, Sarah was like...
Someone died near her.
Well,
Oh.
6 was like, I'm fucking staying here and I'm killing Ra. And Sarah was like, we need to get back.
Yeah.
And so 6 was like, then go.
Sarah was the only voice of reason.
Yeah, but Sarah refused to leave 6 and vice versa. So she thinks about it, and of course she feels guilty, but she's like, I don't think I would have made a different choice.
Yeah.
Because if I could have killed Ra... Remember, she like, stabbed him somewhere in the chest. She's like, I would continue to make that choice.
Yeah. I mean, it's a smart thing to do.
But I get, like, guilt. Like, yeah.
Like, they might get a month or 2 from the power vacuum.
Yeah. They don't.
But...
They don't. If last book was 24 hours, this book is 48.
Okay.
Mark is holding vigil over Sarah's body. Dustin and Adam are doing okay. Marina's still, like, unconscious, because remember, she got, like, fucking thrown around like a rag doll.
Yeah.
And Ella's still...
That's, like, the thing in, like, anime where they get thrown through, like, 2 buildings.
Yeah, and they're like, I'm good.
Like, I'm fine.
No, Marina's, like, out for the fucking count. And Ella is, like, in the corner still full of, like, blue energy.
Yeah.
So, that's where everybody there is at. Adam's feeling guilty about how he harmed Raw. Because you remember he attacked Raw when they were still connected to Ella.
Yeah.
And Ella's like, no, that was totally fine.
Yeah, kill the fucker.
She's like, I knew exactly what you were going to do, and I completely supported it.
Yeah. Because she went into that being like, kill me, and then the curse is lifted, then kill him again.
Yeah. And Ella was like, Sarah was completely content with her death. Mm-hmm. She thought about John and her family, because remember, Sarah's got a family.
It wasn't tied both ways, was it? So if she died, he wouldn't get killed, and she stayed alive.
I don't think it was, no. Yeah. Apparently Ella was in Sarah's head the whole time, and Mark was like, was that it? Was that all she was thinking of? And I was like, what do you want me to say? Because, like, Mark's still, like, kind of obsessed with Sarah in a romantic way.
Yeah.
And so she's like, Sarah did have a thought of you, but, like, ultimately it was John and her family. Yeah.
She went through, my friends, and you were included.
Yeah. But it kind of sounds like Mark was hoping they were more than what they were.
You're not going to beat the alpha alien Chad John.
How could you? Even though 9 is probably the way better character, but oh well.
Do you think 9 is the alien Chad?
Yeah, I do. I do think he is. Because he's every time somebody describes him, they describe him as the big guy.
Oh, big boy.
And he was in prison for like a year doing, workouts and stuff like that. They land in this Patience Creek area and see the whole gang, plus, like, this military guy, who is surrounded by a bunch of other military folk, and for some reason, some weird, like, young twin-looking boys. John quickly gets Marina, like, a quick heal, and he's like, she's okay, but she needs to rest.
Yeah.
And before John goes into the ship.
He goes into 6, if you know what I'm talking about.
Transportation.
Sex.
Oh, okay. 6 is like, hey.
Oh, they're minors, aren't they? Whoops.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, because I don't know the timeline. But yes, I would presume they're all minors, except for Marina. Take backs. And 6 is like, hey, I'm so sorry. Like, I tried to protect her. And 6 is like, I for sure killed Raw. So, like, at least something good can come out of this. And Ella's like, you didn't.
Did they know?
You didn't do that.
He's actually fine.
So in the ship, BK kind of bows to John, like, in a weird way. And John's like, dude, what are you doing? But quickly realizes it's because BK's apologizing. Mm. And John feels...
I did not protect the wind.
And John feels guilty that 6 and BK feel this extra guilt.
Yeah.
Because he feels like the only ones who are responsible for Sarah's death are Raw and, for some reason, John.
Well, he brought her into this.
I know. He checks Sarah's body, does one attempt to heal her, but obviously she's cold. And, he's just completely empty. Yeah. And then he, like, confronts Mark, or is confronted by Mark, and Mark's like, is that it? John's like, I literally can't do anything. And Mark starts to fucking fight him. Mark is like, you got her killed. You did this. Like, you could have left Paradise, left her. Instead, you fucking selfishly stayed. Like, there was no other girls in any part of the other, like, travel you did. Which he's right.
He's cooking. Let him cook.
And he's like, you knew how hard this was and that she could have died, and now she's fucking dead.
Yeah.
Mark gives him 2 punches, and John's like, you're right, but I don't really care what you think.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, hey, Mark BT dubs, did that make you feel better? And Mark's like, no. Then John's like, okay, so I need you to do me a favor. Can you tell Sarah's family and bring her body back to them?
Oh my god.
And Mark's like, dude, fuck you. Yeah, I can do your hard work. And John, he's like, the only thing I have left is killing.
Yep.
So John becomes even more fucking insufferable this book. Cool. 6, she wakes up after having a naked sleep with Sam.
What the flick?
Pervs. I don't know how old they are. I don't know how old anyone is.
This is why we need to stop reading books about children.
Yeah.
So we can make boner jokes.
Boner. Sam is embarrassed, and they have a little makeout sesh, and she's like, I'm done pushing you away. Sarah's death made me realize, like, how little time we could have.
And tomorrow.
Literally. They're interrupted by these twin military boys who are telling them they need to come out. And
hey, stop fucking in there.
No, they're like boys, like their age.
Hey, stop fucking in there.
Much better, thank you. And Six is like, who the fuck are they? And Sam's like, oh, they're Lanes. She's like, okay. I said,
what?
Who are they? And apparently Lane is the new acronym they've got. It's Legacy Affected Native Earthling.
Cool.
Sam gives her the lowdown on the military folks and how he's been in, like, the electronics room this whole time and how everyone's going crazy. Sam's like, this place is a fucking dump. But Six is like the electronics in the room are, like, going crazy. Like, the lights and stuff.
I'm doing some Foley work right here.
Foley?
It's like when they add sound to animation.
Oh, like, kabam!
No.
Okay, then I don't know what you mean. Anyways, Six is like, I think
No, I was just saying that was bad.
Oh. Six thinks Sam is developing another legacy to be able to talk with, like, electronics. And then they head towards...
Nerd-ass motherfucker.
Where the twins are taking them. Where Malcolm is able to update Six and Sam on Marina, who has since woken up, and she went back to sleep to continue healing. But Malcolm is like, oh, BT Dubs, I've met the president, and word is his oldest daughter is one of y'all.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. The meeting...
That's what we need.
Yeah. The meeting has all the Lorik who are available, and Nine and Ella are joking around, which is, like, kind of nice to see and hear. Mm-hmm. Sam introduces Six to Daniela, and Six realizes, like, the meeting is really, like, kind of segregated, with them on one side of the table, military folk at the other end, and then Walker is just, like, in between the both of them. Lawson is
being a liaison, though.
Right? Lawson is at the head of the table, and he pulls up a computer, and he's like, here are all the warships. Apparently there's, like, 25 around.
Okay.
He gives his little speech belittling John for being so young, but, like, John's like, fuck off.
You're all whippersnappers and didn't do the alien invasion right.
Exactly. He then says they're 10 hours past the deadline Ra gave them. Remember where they're like, you have 48 hours. And that only the Russians are handing over the new humans with legacies.
Because they're the bad guys. Russia's the bad guys.
I mean, historically, they haven't been the great guys. There is no bad guys, but haven't been the bestest guys.
Yeah.
John and Lawson are like, something needs to be done about that, but priority number one is the war and dealing with the force fields.
Kind of deal with your dudes.
Yeah. Apparently the Anubis is over the West Virginia mountain, and Ella's like, well, you guys want me to, like, make some contact with him? Because I can still do that. And they're like, yes. Why? Yes, 100%.
You could do that?
Yeah. And so she does, and apparently it looks like he's very injured in healing that. And they're like, how long? And she's like, within hours, but not days.
Yeah.
And Lawson's like, cool. Let's discuss strategy.
By tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm bringing in an asset, and it's Adam, who's all chained up. John's like, fuck that. I thought this was going to go smooth. And Six starts yelling about, like, duh, duh, duh. And Adam's like, guys, literally chill. They just wanted to ask me some questions. Like, it's no big deal. But John gets up, which triggers all the soldiers to, like, pull their guns on him. And he ejects simultaneously all of the bullets from their weapons. And Pops, like, heads over to Adam's like, hey, bud, you good? Yeah. And then burns the handcuffs off of him. And is like, we don't answer to you, Lawson. You do. A little bit.
I mean, if they want to stay alive, they do.
Yeah.
But
Lawson's like, chill, bro. Like, we literally just had to make sure he was on the same page as us. He's literally an enemy. Like,
hey, discrimination is bad, but also,
this is the only good one we've seen. We just needed to double check. They talk about, like, the telepathic meeting John had with all the kids, and Lawson's like, it's kind of crazy to be recruiting minors for this war. And John's like, who said I was recruiting minors? Like, I didn't want that, but we're the only ones who can help them.
Yeah.
Like, and they plan, John's like, yeah, so I'm going to kill them all. And Lawson's like, that's great. However, big picture, we need a coordinated attack, because if you go and just kill Ra, then we have 25 warships over populated cities.
That have no commander.
Yeah. And they still don't really have a solution to the force field issue either.
Yeah.
So they're like, cool.
I thought they were Independence Day with the keys.
Yeah, but they only have like 20 of those.
Oh.
So they need, basically what this next part is John's like, well, we don't have to wait for you guys to crack the tech if we just sneak onto another warship
and
invisibly and steal a lot
yeah.
more. And so they're like, cool. That sounds great. So John's like, to do. Sneak aboard.
Hey, still keep working on cracking the tech.
Yeah. They are.
Okay.
But, like, and he's like, remember, like, we need a coordinated situation here. Like, Lawson's like, big picture, dude. Mm-hmm. And John's like, cool. Sneak aboard a warship. This is his to-do list. Steal the devices.
Easy.
Give these to the government.
Yep.
Easy peasy. John's got to learn a bunch of legacies.
Mm-hmm.
Kill Ra.
Okay. Learn all the legacies.
Yeah.
Get on a warship. Steal shit from the warship. Get off the warship. Mm-hmm. Kill Ra.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's like, first things first, I gotta learn how to fly. And he's like, cool.
He just starts jumping in.
Woo, woo. But he's like, I'm gonna gab with Adam, who's like worried about him, just like everyone is. And he's like, shut the fuck up. He's like, what'd they ask you about when they had you as like a prisoner? And Adam's like, all they really did was ask me questions about like Moog stuff. Like, what's the government look like? What's the military look like? What would happen if Ra's dead? Yeah, they don't have any information. And John's like, that's actually a really good point. Actually, what would happen if Ra died?
Could you tell me that?
Yeah, I know, like, I've been really, like, we've been BFFs now for maybe 2 weeks.
And I've asked you no questions about yourself, because I'm like...
And I haven't considered for one single second what would happen after Ra died.
Yeah.
Let's gab about that.
Is there, like... Is it worse? Like,
yeah, is something worse gonna happen?
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, Ra's actually keeping the Vice Ra in check.
Actually, pretty much what he says is, like, if Ra is dead, then it will be complete chaos, because they'll have Trueborn commanders fighting other Trueborn commanders.
For power, yeah, it's a power vacuum, and you're going to be caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, John's like, that's fine, because, like, Adam's like, they never actually fix the fertility problems. The Trueborns will end up dying.
Yeah.
And Adam's like, yeah, no, that's, like, really cool, but, like, have you considered that all this fighting will be happening on Earth?
Yeah.
Or above Earth?
Yeah.
Like...
And they don't care. Like, Earth is not...
Oh, no. They don't give a shit. Them. Yeah. Like, Ra's like, I want to occupy Earth.
Yeah.
The Moogs are just like, I want to be in charge.
It's like stepping on ants while you're playing soccer. They don't give it, like... Yeah. It doesn't even register to them.
Yeah. So, you know, he's like, well, that's a very interesting thing to consider. I'm like, it seems like you should have considered that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Anyways, Adam's like, hey, BT Dubs, I have a quick thing to show you in the communications room. There's this Mog Pro guy who's learning Mogadorian, so Adam can, like, help him translate and stuff. And they're like, they don't know we're monitoring them. And, which is good, because they're all freaking out. Basically, like, the Moogs are like, asking beloved leader what to do next. And Adam's like, you can tell they're freaking out from that. And they're like, we don't ask what to do.
Yes.
We're given orders.
Yeah.
So, John's like, that's great. It seems like nobody knows what to do right now. Mm-hmm. So, that's cool at least. And then there's a lot of chatter all of a sudden. And we go to 6. They've gathered everybody. Someone posted something on YouTube.
Cool.
YouTube. Some of the International Guard were using the Lorelite stones to travel around. And now 4 of them are trapped at Niagara Falls. So they're like, in the YouTube video, they're like, hey gang, like... Be soups great if somebody came to rescue us. Like,
hey guys,
we're trapped here. I actually don't know anywhere in the United States to picture to go to. You didn't tell us where to go. Please come rescue us.
Yeah, I'm not going to New York.
Yeah, well, fuck that. The video was posted like 3 hours ago, but the Moogs have just picked it up, so they're picking it up at the same time. And the closest warships are at Chicago and Toronto. And they can see in the Moog chatter is that they're like, what the fuck do we do? Mm-hmm. What do we do? So John's like worried, like, hey, I don't think we should include the military folk in this little liaison. So we're gonna like go grab them. And John's like, but I need to stay here and I need 9 with me. 6, can you lead the charge? take Sam, Daniela, and Ella with you, with a couple of Chimera. And the Chimera are Regal, who's a hawk, and Bandit, who's a raccoon.
But also they're all things.
Yes, but they prefer... It's like a preferred name, Justin.
Oh, okay.
Regal prefers to be a hawk. Idiot. God.
But he could also be, like, a hippo and kill a bunch of people.
Yeah. So they have this little moment about Sarah and, like, because, like, Six is getting back on the ship, which was previously a fucking crime scene, like, splattered all over in blood. Lex is like, don't worry, like, I cleaned it up. Which, like, I'm like, Lexa had to clean it up?
Wittily, I found a power washer, so...
During their ride, Sam is playing with a Game Boy, trying to see if he, like, has a new legacy. So he's, like, talking to it. He's like, turn on! Turn on! And eventually he gets it to turn on without pressing the button. He's like, oh, holy shit, fuck yeah. I just pictured the circuitry. And it started to, like, make more sense, and it works. And they're like, cool, turn it off. And he goes, turn off. And the whole ship powers down. Woo! And then we're back to John. John and 9 go to 5's cell.
That does make sense, though, because it's a lot easier to break shit than...
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Andy was probably feeling really good and just fucked up. But John and 9 go to 5's cell because John needs to learn how to fly. And when he visits, 5's like, OMG, like, hey guys, hey. And
you
John's
got my
like,
eyeball things? It's feeling really weird.
And John's like, hey, I need your help. And I need you to teach me how to fly. And John's like, bro. Or 5's like, bro, you saved my life. I've got you. Mm-hmm. And 5 gives John, like, a look-see-loo. And he's like, oh, you're ready, aren't you? Ready to do whatever's necessary. Like, ready for war. And John's like, no comment. No comment. 5 starts teaching him to fly. And he's able to get his, like, mind around it. Like, get up a little bit. Mm-hmm. But 5 is like, it took me months to perfect this.
Yeah.
John's like, that's crazy. I don't have that time. Like, when I got the healing legacy, I perfected it on accident because it was, like, spur of the moment. I had to do it.
Yeah.
And 5's like...
Throw him off the building.
5 goes bet and fucking attacks him. And John and 9 are like, what the fuck? He's literally a psychopath.
No, you just pick him up, fly as high as you can.
And throw him.
And drop him.
Yeah. So 5 and John are fighting, and they have no idea, like, he's just pranking him. Mm-hmm. And at the end of a rather intense fight, 5 ends up naked because John has burnt his whole clothes off, which is kind of funny because 9's like, oh my god, talk about war crimes, this guy's naked over here. And then he's like, someone do America a favor and get this guy a pair of pants.
Am I right?
Which is cute. But John's like, cool, I've got fighting under control. Whole base is freaked out, but, like, he figured it out.
Yeah.
And 5, like, he's like, okay, cool, like, I'm ready to go back to my cell. And then he's like, oh, because Marina has woken up and has an icicle pointed at his other eye. She's like, remember what I said when I saw you last? I'm gonna fucking kill you. Back
and they're
to
like,
6.
they're like, chill.
And she's like, I am chill. I'm literally making ice.
Yeah.
Did you like my ice joke?
I did like your ice joke. It was very good.
Thanks, babe. Thanks so much. Sarah, again,
Dead.
They're gonna crash and die, but Ella has the great idea for Lexa to think of the circuitry, because she knows it fairly well. Then she telepathically transfers that image over to Sam, and Sam is able to get the ship to stop crashing.
That's pretty smart.
It's almost like Ella's the best. She's fucking 12, maybe. They get to Niagara Falls, and Lex is like, I've got a visual on skimmers. But they have been taken...
Skimmers to 6.
But they've been taken out. Like, somebody already took care of them. They're like, who the fuck?
Yeah.
And when they get out, they don't find, like, these new folk really quickly. But Ella's like, I'm gonna go hang out with the stone.
Cool.
Like, weird.
I gotta go hang out with these rocks real quick.
And, they find the new folks in the woods, and one of them is able to charge items and make them into grenades.
That's awesome.
Right.
That's Gambit's power from X-Men. His thing is, like, technically kinetic energy transfer.
Yeah, that's what hers is, too.
Yeah. But that's such a cool power.
Mm-hmm.
Gambit has playing cards that he throws.
Oh, yeah.
And those, like, work as little explosives because it's dependent on the mass, too. It's just, he's such a cool character.
She's fun. Her name's Ran, and we don't know anything about her because...
Wait. Is she from Louisiana, perchance?
No,
Okay.
she's from Japan, but she doesn't speak any English.
Okay.
These new folks consist of 3 European people, Fleur, Nigel, and Bertrand. And, as described, frail-looking Japanese girl named Ran, who can make the bombs. Yep. So, John starts off real strong trying to get Marina to pull this icicle. He goes, calm down.
Literally chill.
And Marina's like, do not fucking tell me to calm down. And he's like, no, like, chill, like, it's safe, like, Five's our prisoner. She's like, he doesn't fucking look like a prisoner. And John's like, yeah, well, he's going back to prison right now. Like,
that's where we're taking him.
Literally stop. And she does lower her guard, and Five, like, gets... Oh my god. We have to keep that in. Once every 10 episodes, every 5 episodes, Stinky scares the freaking shit out of me. And that was it. Oh, okay. Marina...
He's trying to induce you.
He is. It might work. No. God, no. Marina and John...
Please, dear God, no.
Please, no. Marina and John have a heart-to-heart before John realizes, like, she doesn't know Sarah is dead. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he tells her. And Marina's, like, reacting with the exact vibe he's trying to avoid, which is caring, kind, and understanding.
Yeah, why would you tell her that? Because, like, she's instantly going to jump to Five did it, or Five's responsible. Like, the last person he killed was her friend, so if another friend dies, it's his fault.
Luckily, Marina didn't act like that, just, like, she was just really kind to him, which he didn't want.
Or deserve.
Yes, but he also feels like she's the one person who would understand him, because, like, her reaction after Eighth's death. Mm-hmm. And he's even able to, like, cry a little, which is the first time he's done that.
Beta.
I just want to point out, John has not rested this whole time.
Yeah.
Since the attack on New York, pretty much. Mm-hmm. So that's great for your mental and physical health. Marina also has some weird religious perspective on it, and John's like, okay, that, like, literally doesn't matter. Like, with Sarah's dead, I don't give a shit what happens to me. Marina's like, cool, well, I at least hope something is left of us to rebuild, but let's get to it.
Yeah.
So she doesn't get too, like, crazy weird on him, which is nice. We're over to 6 now, in Niagara. As they get ready to head back, Adam gives them a quick update that the warships in Chicago and Toronto are freaking out. And the commanders are like, where's Ra? And Ella's like, I think I'm going to turn this stone off. The Lorelite stone. They're like, okay, that's weird. We didn't know you could do that.
Like, stop their communication?
Like, turn the stone off, like they can't get to that Lorelite stone.
Just take its power?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well, cool update, I guess.
I think I have a sledgehammer, and I'm gonna break it.
Cool update. As they fly back, Lexa's like, 6, let's gab, and Lexa's like, do these kids really seem ready to, like, fight? And
that was a teleport stone, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And 6 is like, were we? And she, like, looks at the kids in the back, and they obviously look terrified. And Ella pops into 6's head and is like, these kids should not be fighting. Like, we were born into it. They've had mere hours.
Yeah.
And, like, they don't really come to a conclusion. But none of them feel confident that these folks are in the fighting spirits. Yeah. Where was I? So 6 talks to Lexa again and is like, you're right, like, they shouldn't have to do this, but we have to give them the option. Mm-hmm. And then out of nowhere, Sam's like, hey, I think I can talk to the force field box and make it get working.
Yeah.
Just like, do it then, pussy. Yeah. Back to John, we're in our last 4-chapter chunk. Boop, boop, boop. John runs into Walker, who's basically just a coffee jockey now. Right. Because she's a woman, maybe because she's a woman.
Probably because she's a woman.
But because she was previously, like, pro-Mordorians and stuff like that. Mm. And John's like, I trust you way more than the rest of them. Yeah. She's like, I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you.
He says hi to, like, the group that's arrived with the new kids. And Nine's like, damn, like, we're gonna have to do this war ourselves. There's no way these kids are ready. Like, yeah. And he's like, don't worry, like, I've got it. Like, I've got the training. Because Nine's really good at training. Where was I? 6 gives John the rundown of what happened. And John's like, damn, I shouldn't have called them to fight.
Also, none of these Earth kids are like, hey, give me a gun, too, actually.
they're mostly like, yo, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
Like, happy to come join you, but, like, what's going on?
And where's a gun?
Yeah. Where was I? 6 is like, hey, it's like, even if we don't want them to fight, it's still the best call for them to be trained with us.
Yeah.
Which is true. And then she's like, we need to make sure the stones are safe, because, you know, people could start grabbing people there.
Yeah.
And Ella's like, John, I'd like to speak to you alone after I prepare some stuff.
Yeah.
Did I say Ella?
I have no clue.
Ella wants to talk to John alone.
I'm super paying attention, so I'm...
Yeah?
Yeah, I caught that, actually. So I was kind of confused.
Yeah, really? Because your eyes over here, buddy. Eyes over here. He searches around for Ella later with BK, and they find her in a library that's been, like, forgotten about. And she's, like, marking spots on a map. And she's like, these are all the Lorelite stones. And John's like, wow, we really changed the place. She's like, yeah, like, I did stop looking into the future, though. Which leads to a discussion where Ella basically says she knew Sarah would pass. And she's like, there's nothing that would have been done. And also, like, in my opinion, fuck that. Ella was like, get out. Mm-hmm. Run. Like, leave.
She told them, she tried.
She told John, tell them to leave. She told them, leave.
Yes.
What else was she going to do?
Yeah.
Anyway, but John's, like, mad at Ella about this. And I was like, what good would me telling you Sarah's going to die do?
Yeah.
How would that have gotten any of the problems fixed?
Yeah.
But during this conversation, they do half of it in his head, and John realizes he's developed telepathy. Mm. And he's still pissy about the Sarah thing, but, like, he's like, fuck it. Like, I'm just going to go take over this warship.
Because that's what everybody else around him needs. Him in their head.
I know, right? It's like, great. Back to 6. Back to back. 6 and Marina have a good little heart-to-heart, where they're like, you're my BFF. And, then they're, like, talking, and they're like, hey, John's like, hey, guys, can you join me? I want to talk to Lawson. We've got some moves to make, because he's all pissy still. Mm-hmm. And Lawson is like, Marina, you're the best out of all of them, because of the healing legacy. And I'm like,
John's like, what do we? I have that too.
What do we have that too? And they're like, okay, let's go. But John's like, hey, so, like, we're going to hand you these, like, Lorelite stone locations, but, like, don't grab people from them. Yeah. And hold them hostage or anything. And they're like, cool. And then Lawson's like, hey, BT Dubs, what's up with you guys going to Niagara? Nobody kind of told me about that.
Yeah.
John's like, yeah, we don't have to tell you about that. And he's like, well, here's the thing, is it would have been great if you told me about that, because one of the ships, I don't know if it's the Chicago or Toronto ship, moved to Niagara, which could have been a big issue, like nuclear. Like, some countries are considering going nuclear.
Yeah.
And he's like, plus now we have to reposition all the military folk and, like, get that population evacuated.
Yeah.
And John's like, I actually don't care. I actually don't care about any of that.
Cool.
Honestly, Elle, that you didn't already have that in place. And he's like, yeah, shut the fuck up. Here's a map of the stones. Get our allies to a stone, and we can start transferring the first force field things after we go take these skimmers from this ship. And they're like, cool, now we've got one near us at least. We've got the Niagara ship nearby. We can go grab those. He's also like, hey, if there's human guards coming in, don't fuck with them. And Lawson's like, I literally don't. Like, Lawson's like, I don't want to. They are literal children.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want to. I know there are people who will, but trust me, I will not.
Yeah.
They then discuss a plan together, finally. And John's like, I want to take a small group on board the warship over Niagara, steal the force field things, and then head out. Mm-hmm. And then, like, they're like, cool, great plan. The guy who's learning Mogadorian shows up. And he's like, hey, BT Dubs, there's a speech going on right now. And it's Phoebe Dunraw. You remember Phoebe? She's like, all of you guys, I cannot believe you have, questioned beloved leader, real cult shit. Mm-hmm. And, Phoebe's like, our fearless leader has been able to give us legacies.
Cool.
And then they show this clip of a human guard being killed and tortured to extract his legacies. And John's like, okay, Adam, do what you need to do. And Adam interrupts the broadcast and goes, hey, everybody, my name is... whatever his full name is.
Datum.
No, it's Adamus Sekra or something like that.
Adamus Suckit?
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, hey, guys, Fury's literally a liar, and she's just crazy, and she wants to take over power from Ra.
Yeah.
And Fury's like, no, that's not true. And John's like, that's so perfect. Now we can let them kill each other.
Yeah.
And, back to John. The warships do stuff. Sydney, Australia, gets a bombardment. Cool. And it was mostly evacuated, but not completely.
All right.
Yep. Other locations, like Beijing, which was getting a full,
flattening,
has been stopped. 2 warships are fighting each other, and one of the warships just went into the atmosphere and disappeared.
See you guys.
And John...
I'm gonna head out.
Yeah. Let me be clear.
Let me be clear.
John then has a sleepy vision where Ra is torturing everybody he loves. And Ra's like, hey, bud, where's my granddaughter? And John's like, fucking super ecstatic to be away from you.
Yeah. Like, so happy that
she's not with you anymore. And he's like, Ra's like, I wanted to give you a feeling of my power. And shows him, like, the black ooze that he's, like, chilling in, I guess. And he's like, John's like, this shit sucks. And he feels like he's drowning. And basically, Ra has, like, the black ooze going into his body. Remember in Princess Mononoke?
Yeah.
Yeah, when the worms take over? It's like that, but backwards. They go into him instead of coming out. And Ra then, like, kind of steals his lumen, his light from him, which feels weird. And he wakes up and Adam's like, you good, bro? John's like, yeah, but, like, I'm not gonna sleep anymore.
I'm actually gonna stay awake.
Yeah, so he hasn't slept. So it's been, like, 3 days of no sleep.
Yeah.
No bueno.
Well, we don't know if that's...
No, they need to sleep like we do.
Okay.
Like humans do, yeah.
Okay, because they're just space humans, I forgot.
Space humans, obviously. So, now we're over to 6. And she wakes up with Sam just, like, rambling about... He's like, the radio waves, the frequencies. And he's going crazy like that. It's like this whole chapter of him explaining it to her.
Yeah.
But the basic gist is that he thinks he can train older phones to become the force field boxes.
Okay.
By putting out the frequency and radio waves that they need to do. And 6 is like, that would be fucking killer if you could, dude. That'd be great.
Yeah.
And she goes and walks around in the hangar, and 9's teaching the new guards how to do their telekinesis. And John's like...
They're just weight training, but without their hands.
Yeah, pretty much. And John's like, you guys are not coming with us. You guys are staying here.
Yeah.
And he gives him, like, a little speech. And he's like, yeah, okay, gang, so, like, let's hop in the ship. So there was another reason I didn't want them or any of the military folk to come.
Yeah.
We're gonna steal the warship.
Mm.
And that's where we're gonna be done for the day.
Okay.
How are you feeling about... I think John just turned even more fucking miserable.
Yeah.
Like...
My girlfriend's dead. Everybody can die.
Mm-hmm. At least he thought about, like, the consequences of his actions before.
Yeah.
Now he's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think the consequences of stealing a warship are?
Millions of casualties.
Like... Oh, it's so aggravating. But we're almost done. It's almost over. Just the last half of the book. You feeling okay?
Yeah.
Yeah? Alright.
We could just be done, actually.
One more half and then we're all the way done. And then we never have to do it again.
Thank goodness.
Well, except for the next, like, series we do. So, there's that.
Oh, so just continue with the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, so that. My name's Blue and I love to read.
My name's Justin, I'm sorry.